Ever feel like everyone else have this success thing figured out, like it's some kind of secret club, and you weren't given the password?
Yeah, it can feel that way sometimes.
Well, today, we're going to try and crack the code, all right? We're diving deep into Bob Proctor's 12 power principles for success. Hopefully, unlock a little wisdom along the way.
And we're not talking about, some vague self-help stuff here. Proctor's book is like a blueprint, He based it on watching what actual high achievers do.
Love it. A blueprint. And luckily for us, we found this incredible blog that breaks down each principle. So get ready for a crash course in rewiring your thinking and actions for real, lasting success, right? No more quick fixes.
Right, the real deal. And it all starts with mindset. That's Proctor's big thing. Your thoughts, they're incredibly powerful. They're like the foundation for everything that follows.
Okay, so let's dig into that. The blog highlights success as the first principle, which, seems kind of obvious, right? You're reading a book about success, it's going to talk about success. But Proctor's take on it is all about shifting from a place of wanting success to truly believing you deserve it. Subtle, but important.
It's huge. It's almost like flipping a switch in your mind. Instead of chasing success, you're aligning yourself with it, and that changes how you make decisions, how you act.
Which so smoothly brings us to the second principle, decision. Now, I don't know about you, but me, I can get stuck. Analysis paralysis, overthinking every little thing.
Oh, tell me about it. Happens to the best of us. But Proctor would say that making a decision, even if it isn't perfect, is crucial. He actually quotes Theodore Roosevelt on this one. It is better to make a decision, even if it is the wrong one, than to make no decision at all. Bam.
Words to live by, right? So it's about trusting your gut, taking that leap of faith.
In a way, yeah. But, and this is important, it's not just about blindly jumping into things. Proctor's big on gathering information, weighing your options. Yeah.
And then taking action. Gotcha. Because even a wrong decision, you get feedback.
Right.
You learn, you adjust, you move forward. Which, now that I think about it, sounds a lot like the next principle, risk.
Bingo. Proctor believes that the real risk is not taking risks. Stepping outside of your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens.
He even uses the example of Mark Zuckerberg, saying the biggest risk is not taking any risk. Talk about walking the walk, right? That's coming from someone who built a billion-dollar empire. Makes you think, if you never push those boundaries, how can you possibly expect to grow?
Exactly. But growth, it often comes with challenges, with setbacks, with what we tend to think of as failure, which can be scary.
And that's where the principle of persistence comes into play, wouldn't you say? This one trips so many people up.
It's everything. Proctor argues that persistence is about maintaining that unwavering belief in yourself, in your vision, even when, especially when you face those inevitable roadblocks. And he doesn't just throw out these motivational posters, He digs into the psychology of persistence, gives you techniques for staying motivated and overcoming self-doubt.
So it's about having a plan, not just a wish.
Yeah.
But then having the grit to stick with it even when things get tough.
Exactly.
Which, now that we're talking about taking ownership, reminds me of the next principle, responsibility.
Yes. This one is all about recognizing that you're the one in the driver's seat of your own life. You choose how you respond to challenges. You decide whether to let setbacks define you or fuel your growth. It's incredibly empowering when you really get it.
It's like that quote, you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control your reaction to it. But, deeper. Proctor's arguing that this sense of ownership, this internal locus of control, it's a key difference between those who achieve success and those who, don't.
And this is where Proctor connects the dots between mindset, what we've been talking about, and action. He argues that taking responsibility isn't just about acknowledging your part. It's about taking ownership of the solution as well.
So instead of playing the victim, you become the architect, right? You're designing your own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. And it leads us nicely into this next group of principles, the ones that are all about taking action.
Because, let's be real. All the positive thinking in the world won't get you very far if you don't actually do something.
Right. Exactly. And this is where those who struggle with procrastination or maybe fear of failure, they might find themselves hitting a wall. But don't worry. Proctor provides practical steps to break through that.
I'm ready to break through. Tell me more.
It all starts, with action itself. The principle of action. Proctor's big on this success. It's not passive. You got to roll up your sleeves, do the work.
Makes me think of that Tony Robbins quote, something like, the path to success is to take massive, determined action. Okay, but massive, determined. How do we do that? What's Proctor's secret sauce?
He's all about strategic action, not just working hard, but working smart. You got to identify those key tasks, the ones that really move the needle towards your goals, and then boom, focus your energy there.
So it's not just about speed, it's about direction too. Like, you could be the fastest runner, but if you go in the wrong way.
Exactly. And he's also big on breaking down those huge goals into smaller, manageable steps, because that's where people get tripped up, right? Dreams seem too big, too distant. But Proctor's like, hold on, even the most ambitious goal, you break it down, bite-sized pieces.
Like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Nailed it. Now, when it comes to putting these principles into action, Proctor, he doesn't shy away from money. Whole principle dedicated to it.
And I think that's important because, let's be real, money's this weird taboo topic. We're not supposed to talk about it, but it's a huge part of life.
Huge. And Proctor's approach, it's like a breath of fresh air. He doesn't see money as good or bad. It's a tool, resource. Like a hammer, you can build a house or you can, I don't know, break stuff. The key, he says, is that healthy relationship with money, understanding it, abundance, not fear, not scarcity.
Right. Okay, so how do we do that? Escape that scarcity mindset. Step into abundance. What's step one?
So Proctor's thing is money. It's attracted to value. The more you focus on giving value to others, solving problems, making the world a better place, the more abundance you're going to attract. And not just money. We're talking relationships, meaningful work, well-being, the whole package.
Not about hoarding wealth. It's about, like, a life well lived, meaning purpose.
Exactly. True wealth, it's way more than just your bank account. That's just one measurement. But it takes that shift, right? Moving away from lack into possibility.
Which brings us to goals.
Right.
Because if you don't know where you're going, any road or something like that.
Love it. Proctor, he's all about clear, compelling goals. Write them down, he says, but in detail. Not just, I want to be rich, but how's it going to feel? What's your life going to look like? Emotions, even.
So not just a target, but a vision board.
Yeah.
But with words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that vision, it becomes this powerful motivator, especially when things get tough, Challenges, setbacks. It's like your compass keeps you on track, reminds you why you started this whole thing in the first place.
It's interesting how all these principles, they build on each other, like puzzle pieces. You fit them together, you get this whole picture of success.
Exactly. They're not meant to be these separate things. They work together, synergy, to create real, lasting change. And it's that interconnectedness that Proctor's really pushing as we move into this next group, the ones about, the human element of success.
Because it's not just what you do, it's how you are.
Yeah.
Right? Your attitude, your creativity, how you connect with other people, that's huge.
Huge. And Proctor would argue these intangible things, they're just as important, maybe even more important than any strategy, any tactic.
Okay, so let's get into it, the human element, starting with attitude.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, they underestimate the power of, just thinking positively. Like, oh, just be happy and all your problems are solved. But it's got to be deeper than that, right?
Absolutely. And Proctor, he was ahead of his time with this one. He understood that our attitude, our whole outlook on life, it impacts everything we experience. Remember that quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Proctor lived that.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You believe you can do something, you're more likely to, do the things to make it happen.
Precisely. And the opposite is true, too. If you're stuck in the negative, doubts, fears, you're probably sabotaging yourself without even realizing it.
It's like that saying, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails.
There you go. Proctor's point is, having a positive attitude, it's not about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing how you approach them. Resilience, optimism, that unwavering belief in your ability to overcome. Focus on the solutions, not the problems, the opportunities, not the obstacles.
So it's a conscious choice.
Yeah.
Like every day you wake up and you decide.
Exactly. Every single day, every single moment.
That's, kind of empowering, but also kind of daunting, right? Like that's a lot of pressure.
It can be. But Proctor, he gives you the tools, practical techniques to actually cultivate a more positive outlook.
Look what, give me an example.
Well, one of the things he talks about is gratitude. Simple, but...
Oh, come on, that's like gratitude journal, blah, blah, blah. I've tried that. Felt kind of fake.
No, not like that. It's about when you really focus on what you're grateful for, something happens in your brain. For real. Neurochemicals, the whole deal.
Okay, so not just like slapping a happy face on, but actually rewiring how you think.
Exactly. You start looking for the positive, and that changes everything. It's like you're training your brain. And that actually leads perfectly into the next principle, which is creativity.
Because if you're feeling more positive, you're open to new ideas, new possibilities.
Exactly. Proctor's whole thing is we're all born creative, but then life happens, limiting beliefs, fear, self-doubt, it all gets in the way.
So how do we, like, unblock that, tap back into that creative energy?
He's got a few ideas. 1, stay curious, like a kid, always asking why. 2, surround yourself with inspiring people, people who challenge you, make you think differently. And this one's big. Embrace failure.
Ooh, that's hard. Failure is not my friend.
But it should be. Think of it like this. Every time you fail, it's just information. You learn, you adapt, you get better. It's all part of the process.
So failure isn't the end. It's like a detour, or maybe even a shortcut in disguise.
Love it. And that takes us to our final principle, which ties everything together, communication.
Because you could have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't communicate them, dead in the water.
100%. Proctor knew this. Communication. It's that bridge between what's going on in your head and then putting it out there in the world.
So it's not just talking at people. It's about really connecting, understanding their needs, and then speaking their language.
Exactly. And it's listening too, right? Really listening. Active listening, he calls it. Hearing what people are saying, even the stuff they're not saying. Body language, tone of voice.
Building that rapport, making people feel heard. That's how you get your message across.
And that, my friend, is how you build trust, relationships, and ultimately, that's how you achieve success, not just in business, but in life.
Okay, so quick recap, because we covered a lot today. From the power of mindset to you got to take action, don't be afraid to take risks, and communication is key.
The whole shebang.
Right. But this is, what is this? Because this is just the spark, right? The inspiration. Proctor's 12 principles, and they're not like a magic spell. It's more like a map. It's going to point you in the right direction, but you got to do the driving.
You're in the driver's seat.
Love it. So, for our listeners, think about this. If you could only pick 3 of these principles to focus on, just 3, what would they be? And how would you actually put them into practice? Starting today, let us know. Keep that conversation going. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep diving deep.